PR Connections Radio presents.
Hello there, and welcome to the Sunday Morning Chat Series with Jesse Oakley III. This is your host, Jesse Oakley III, and the purpose of the Sunday Morning Chat Series is for me, Jesse Oakley III, to interview a plethora of positive people that are making big differences in their communities. Whether they're speakers, authors, entertainers, writers, people in science and technology, you'll hear from them first, right here on the Sunday Morning Chat Series. And today we have ourselves a wonderful episode, and we have ourselves a wonderful guest here on the Sunday Morning Chat Series. Now, myself, I've been known to dabble in science. My day job, I am an engineer, a civil engineer, and I basically do some scientific reasoning with certain materials in order to make certain roads very safe and very productive for my community. And there are also some different branches of science that I like to stretch out. And there's one person that happens to be a neuroscientist. And this is going to be truly an amazing episode, amazing interview. I get to interview none other than neuroscientist Anwesha Banerjee. Anwesha, how's it going?
I'm doing fantastic, Jesse. How are you?
I'm doing quite well, and I'm glad you're here on the Sunday Morning Chat Series. And without further delay, let's chat.
Let's chat.
All right. Now, could you explain to all the people out there, what is a neuroscientist and what does a neuroscientist do?
That's a complex question. I think I'm still trying to find the answer out myself. But briefly, what neuroscience do is study the brain and anything that relates to our nervous system. You know, all us human beings or any other living thing on the earth, we are an outcome of how our brain functions. And the most complex and fascinating organ of our body, I think, and studying that, how it functions, what it does in regular happy people, in people who are not so happy, and how we can make them happier, and all those questions we set to answer as in neuroscience.
All right. Fantastic. Fantastic. Now, this is a very interesting career of being a neuroscientist. And what piqued your interest in following this neuroscientist route? How did it get started, and what motivated you to take this wonderful career of being a neuroscientist?
No, it's a long story. So I have grown up in India, and I was always fascinated with biology. Now, just looking at plants outside, I was like, they don't eat, then they just stand under the sun and they can make their food. Those were some of those early questions that fascinated me quite early in life. So I always knew I'll be a biologist. I knew that very early in life. So I went on, did my undergrad, did my master's, and then in 2009, I came to US to get a master's in molecular biology, which is still biology, but not neuroscience. And I wanted to get some experience in research. Sounded very cool if I could do some research. But all the labs at that time in my university, they were not accepting new applicants anymore. And someone told me that in the nearby department, which is neuroscience, Department of Neuroscience, they had openings. Do you want to go and do some research in neuroscience? And I'm like, what the heck is that? I know that it's something about the brain, but that's pretty much it. So I joined the neuroscience lab to get some experience. And boy, that was a game changer. Those few months of experience working on models of autism, trying to understand what happens in autistic brains. That was part of my project. I loved it so much that I said, I'm not only going to get a master's, let me see if I can get a PhD. So I stayed and finished my PhD, went on to do postdocs, and it's been since 2009 I've fallen in love with neuroscience and this mysterious organ called brain. And I'm always motivated because there's so much that we don't know. So the more answers I find, it just raises more questions to answer.
All right. Fantastic. Oh, my goodness. Now, there are some challenges that we face when it comes to science, whether it be engineering, neuroscientists. My challenges happen when I was during my studies over at University of Nevada, Las Vegas. I was taking 7 out of 8 math courses from algebra all the way to pre-calculus of the 1, 2, and 3 and physics and all the other classes. And those have been quite challenging for me to my 6 years at UNLV. And also challenges also when it comes to working on different projects as an engineer.
Mhm.
When it comes to neuroscientists, what were some of the challenges that you faced, whether it be throughout your career from beginning to right where you are right now?
Well, the first part is a lot of names were quite hard in the beginning to remember and understand. So, biology names are not never easy. All those terms, what's going on in the brain, and the different parts of the brain and their functions. But those were smaller challenges. I was able to overcome that relatively easy. But what were bigger challenges is, again, as I mentioned previously, there's so much that we don't know, and we have to really think and be creative in finding ways to answer some of those questions. And it's not probably just common to neuroscientists, but any science discipline who are in research. It's day to day life can be very frustrating because more experiments fail than they succeed. And oftentimes you have to go back to the drawing board and see that one small thing that we could have tweaked to get a different result, and then develop a lot of grit in the process where you have to be okay with failing and not finding the answers. So, PhD is not, and the process was not just about getting a degree, but it was a way to deal with failures. And you just develop the resistance, the tenacity to say, okay, I'm still working for something way bigger than just a degree, and keep pushing yourself every day a little bit at a time. And those are the challenges initially, but if you see the big picture, it was more opportunities at the end.
I tell you, you hit the nail right there on the head. Well, and I do face a lot of failures and different challenges through whether it be studies or whether it be my career as an engineer. And for all the happy people out there, remember, it's okay to fail. It's okay to learn. It's okay to move forward and keep growing. And Anwesha and I are good examples on how to not only adapt to failure and how to actually become better from each moment. And it's always about the journey and the process. If you have the journey, then you know that you're going to learn a great deal from it. And I learned this from, especially with Russia and myself. Now, we talked about the challenges. We got to have some best moments in different types of real role as a neuroscientist. Now, what were some of the best moments that you experienced in your career?
There are quite a few. One of them was definitely finishing my thesis. It was a lot of relief and lot of hard work that went into it. But what was even more rewarding was when I got a chance to go to a conference and meet some of the patients who were suffering from the disease that I was researching on. And they came up to me and they are not scientists, so they have other careers and other things going on, and they wanted to understand what I'm working on, and how I'm trying to find a solution or a cure to their disease. And the smile on their face and the encouragement that they felt and their family felt at that time, saying that thank you so much for doing this and trying to help us. I think nothing can be more rewarding than that, because we tend to be stuck in our lab in that small space and very focused on doing the experiments. But that was very rewarding to see that what I'm trying to do is going to impact positively to so many people out there who are suffering from that disease. So that was one of the best moments. Those conversations I'll cherish for life, and that has given me another booster to keep doing this for the rest of my life.
All right, fantastic. And I tell you, it makes a big difference to touch a heart for somebody to actually work with that. And you have touched many hearts and many lives in what you do, and really appreciate that. Now the next question I have for you. Let's say that I have a niece who's interested in being a surgeon, actually doing her studies, and basically want to be at similar to where you are. And let's say you happen to meet my niece or another person like my niece that is inspired and amazed by your work and what you've been doing. Now, if and they want to be in your shoes. Now, if you had a chance to talk to someone like my niece and about wanting to do what you're doing, what advice would you give my niece on being where you are right now?
Well, there are so many opportunities around us. I mean, every year with the new technology, you can read everything and find anything on the internet. So I think the first advice will be curious. Don't hesitate to go and find out what neuroscientists do, what the brain is about. There are beautiful, lovely, creative videos on YouTube. No, rather than scrolling through maybe if I use the word mindless things on Instagram, watch super cool videos on brain on YouTube and learn about it. They make it very easy. Second is need to get your hands dirty. By that I mean everything you cannot learn by reading a book or watching a video. Find, the high school nowadays, high schools, they have programs where you can they can pair you up with the university lab, or if you're in college, find that lab who is ready to give you the exposure, because everybody wants you to grow and learn. So get your hands dirty, get in the lab, and actually do experiments to get that feel of what it's like to run an experiment. uh, be totally cool with failing, because that's going to be a daily part. In fact, success will be very scanty
It
in
is.
and then take the courses, find mentor people like us. There are so many who I have had a lot of high school students who have reached out to me previously for guidance and mentorship, and we are all very happy to help and to help them get the success. So if you want it, you will get it.
All right, perfect, perfect. Now you mentioned YouTube, you mentioned some books, and you mentioned other resources. Now, is there anywhere else that people can learn more about this work, the science of neuroscience? Where they can actually go to, besides the YouTubes and certain books?
Well, there are definitely advanced courses, AP level courses that in high school they provide. There are, and I'm personally part of a non-profit organization which provides courses for high school. I used to teach kids and prepare them for brain B, which is similar to like spelling bee, and this is just more about questions on the brain. So there are a lot of courses out there which you can take on your free time during summer and all of that, to have teachers guide you through the programs and teach you. So there are like Khan Academy, there are Coursera that offer courses so much. In fact, there's a lot you can get from those courses, not just videos, but a curriculum developed for you to learn in a structured, systematic manner. So try them out. And if you need more information, just reach out to me.
All right, and they can reach out to you like on LinkedIn or somewhere.
Yeah,
Oh, it's definitely.
LinkedIn is a great way. Yes.
Yeah, so if you happen to be on LinkedIn, look up Anwesha Banerjee, and she'll be there, and she'll be more happy to connect with you, and learn more about neuroscience. Thank you very much, Anwesha. And
Absolutely.
and also now this part of the interview is very special, and it is called the shout out portion. And this gives you a chance to give a shout out or shout outs to people that made this possible for you. So if you have a chance to give a shout out to anybody or any people that you like to give a shout out to, who would you like to give a shout out to?
Oh boy, now I'm going to take like next 30 minutes of your interview. Well, let me start with my family. My parents, my sister is also a biologist, so I've always looked up to her. She's a cancer biologist, not neuroscientist. Um, thank my parents because They were not scientists. My dad was engineer, my mom was in literature, but they have always encouraged me to do whatever I loved doing. So the fact that I came to US to learn molecular biology, and then I call up my dad and say that I'm going to just do neuroscience, and he was like, okay, if that's what you want to do, go for it. So having that faith in me, so shout out to my family. Shout out to some of my college and high school teachers who have generated that curiosity in me to ask those questions, no matter how naive those questions were at that point of time. And shout out to, Toast. I have to give a shout out to Toastmasters, because I was in grad school when I was first exposed to Toastmasters. I had to talk about science in layman's term, and I think being in Toastmasters and having all those mentors and guide there, they have helped me become better at communicating neuroscience and not just studying them. So again, if I start list counting names, there are 500 of them, but I that's why I want to give a, umbrella shout out to all these people. They know who they are, and I'm ever thankful for their guidance, not just now, but I know they will be there in future too.
All right, that's a great group of shout outs. Now, the last question I have for you is directed to the people that watch this podcast. And they are people that like to follow this podcast. And these people are my crew, and they're known as the happy people. If you they are happy people, they're always inspired and blown away by many words of wisdom that I have on this podcast. And they always wonder what they can get from the end of this podcast from words of wisdom from my guests. So if you have any words of wisdom for my people and my crew, the happy people, what would it be?
Well, listen to your heart, do what you want to do, and there is no ceiling, and there is no wall, and there is no box. So just keep doing every day what you're doing, what you love, and no, don't let anyone else tell you that you cannot do something.
All right. And that is a perfect bookend to a wonderful interview on the Sunday Morning Chat series with Jesse Oakley III. And on behalf of all the happy people that are watching this podcast, I thank you, Anwesha, for being a part of the Sunday Morning Chat series with Jesse Oakley III.
Thank you so much for having me, Jesse. Such a pleasure.
All right. And this concludes this episode of the Sunday Morning Chat series with Jesse Oakley III. Now, for more information about the Sunday Morning Chat series or any other podcast, go to prconnectionsradio.com. And you can also check out our YouTube channel. Just type in PR Connections, and you'll see many podcasts, including this podcast, the Sunday Morning Chat series with Jesse Oakley III. But wait, there's more. There's a brand new channel that's out on YouTube, and it's basically Sunday Morning Chat series with Jesse Oakley III. And you get to see a plethora of interviews that I've done from the past, whether it be right now or whether it be from 5 years ago when it got started. You get a chance to hear from lots of people on the Sunday Morning Chat series with Jesse Oakley III. Now, on behalf of Anwesha and myself, or for all the happy people are out there in the world, this is Jesse Oakley III speaking. And until then, you take care of yourselves. And until next time, happy people, bye.
PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.